everybody, welcome back to another Ashes of Creation video for CGN. Myself, Endless88, and with my lovely assistant, Missy.
What's that, girl?
We are continuing and finishing up our series on the economy for Ashes of Creation and how it works. As far as actually this image, before we move on to it, so this is kind of like a caravan entering a metropolis. So there's going to be guards, there'll be quests to take to defend it, there'll be quests to take to attack it. So it'll be, this game's definitely going to be player driven. Like, almost 99% of this game is player driven. And if it's not, then Ashes of Creation will probably not succeed, sadly. So hopefully that if population drops, and I know there's a world manager, that the system itself will be like, oh, there's not enough players doing this, let's kind of make AI help, fill in the gaps. Something that takes 10 people, there's only 5 people, the game will kind of fill in the gaps with 5 other people, right? So, but hopefully that's not the case. And things keep on going with this, but we will see how it goes. Alright, so as Missy said last video, we're going to go into security systems. So, alright, security systems. Security systems will be in place to combat cheating, exploiting, botting, gold selling, item duplication, and other things that affect the economy, starting with Alpha 0. So, I think a lot of people are probably interested in this. I know it's kind of a topic of botting and gold selling and how it's going to affect this game. So, let's dive in. These systems collect user data and flag abnormal activities for inspection. This, combined with player reporting functions, generates a live heat map that draws attention to unusual behavior. Players caught cheating will be banned. Well, that's pretty cool because there's like, I think in not Zoldazar, what was the swamp area south of there? Can't remember. Anyways, but there was just like a big circle of boomkins, just moon firing everything, collecting the gold and the mats and all that stuff, and it was just like whee. And everyone's been reporting these people, but Blizzard just doesn't fix it. They're not doing it. Yeah, so at least it looks like they're going to be having a system in Ashes that detects this and reports it automatically. So that's a plus right there. So, Game Masters, you never want to meet one. Game Master will be present and active on Ashes of Creation servers. It's kind of like the police, right? It's like you see him, you go, "Hey, what's up?" but you never want to actually like deal with him. So
you don't want them whispering to you.
Nope. Yeah, I think in Final Fantasy you actually get pulled into a dungeon, and if you
jailed,
and your character actually gets locked there if you're banned. Like you can't get out of it. You're just locked in a jail, a dungeon. So yeah, fun times. Never been there. I will never be there. So I don't know, Missy. You're kind of a troublemaker.
Well. I have my days.
Right. Alright, so there will be a standard escalation system with different actions are taken based on the seriousness of each infraction. Actions could range anywhere from being stripped of the legitimate items and currency to being banned for a period of time or being permanently banned. The direction that I'm taking Intrepid as a company is that a significant portion of the revenue created by the game does go into not only creating additional content and updates for the game, but also goes into, I think, caretaking, as I call it. And that caretaking is multiple things. It's having active and present GMs on the server. It's having an interacting community team that is always present and on call, participating in forum discussions and streams and updates. And I hope they also move that into the actual in-game when the game launches. Actually have community events pop up and we get to interact. I think that'd be pretty cool. It doesn't have to be that often, but just like Yoshi P goes into Final Fantasy on his Lala and he sits there and he answers questions. from people. So that's because Yoshipi's awesome. His little female Lala black mage. Following a standard approach to an escalation system where certain infractions are immediate and automatic bans, and some infractions provide a path forward where action is taken that might ban the account or strip the account, or provide some chat bans or the ability to play over a week or so. If you buy gold, and depending on the seriousness of the infraction, you can go anywhere from being stripped and to being banned for a period of time to being permanently banned. Two-factor authentication. Token-based two-factor authentication may be in place for Alpha 1. So they are planning on doing that, which is good. I know BDO just, instead of having this authentication though, with a random number generator, I guess this could also be email too, but they now actually register your computer to your account. So if someone tries to log in to your account and it's not your computer, via your MAC address is what they're probably recording, then they're not going to let you in. So who's to say? It's the first time I've ever actually had to register the computer thing. So we'll see about that.
We'll see when you move what happens there.
Yeah, we will see when we move. All right. So the world manager. So this is going to be the big boy that needs to work and work well for this game to succeed. Because this is the backbone, this is the nervous system of this game. So the world manager is an algorithm in asset creation that controls dynamic world events. It acts as both as a throttle and an incentive system for various activities to ensure certain parameters are within acceptable thresholds. Prices of hunting certificates, a heat map of experience being gained to apply node advancement, transit of resources and goods between regions to drive quest rewards for nodes. So like I said, world manager, this is if this doesn't work, nothing else works for the most part. So, and I know like that's what Zillan was talking about. If there's all these systems in this game, and if one of them doesn't work out, they all are kind of linked in a way. So in a circle that never ends. Thank you, Pocahontas. Loot tables. Monsters drop hunting certificates, items, and crafting materials rather than gold. Hunting certificates is a term that covers items such as pelts that house the value of a mob's death. These certificates are specific to an economic region. A wolf is not going to be carrying a sack of gold. It may instead drop pelts that can be traded for gold. Hunting certificates will also drop on a character's death. Hunting certificates can be traded with hunter NPCs within nodes. The level of the node and the distance of the node from the drop will determine the value of the certificate. The certificate redeemed from distant economic regions via the caravan system will provide higher returns, 4 to 5 times greater in some cases, than certificates collected from the same region. The value of the certificates are also calculated by the World Manager algorithm, based on the volume of certificates being redeemed in each region. Hunting certificates can be stored within node warehouses. So if there's an area of the map that is just dead, the world management system will go, hey, there are rock monsters here. If you go kill these rock monsters, so whatever drops from these rock monsters, say this is ore, now this ore becomes like 10 times the value, and so everyone flocks over there to get that ore, and so that now that area is now populated. So I think that's very smart. Like I said, world management system is going to be the thing that makes or breaks this game, to be quite honest. The way that they have it structured. Not saying that if things change, it will be the same, but the way that they're wanting this to be dynamic, and just then that world management system needs to work and work very well. And if it does, then we're in for a ride, guys.
And I like the fact that if you kill a wolf, wild animals are not going to be carrying sacks of gold. And it's good because you're going to get pelts, which I don't need. So I'm going to take it to my node and I'm going to sell it to somebody who's going to use that item. And then I will get the gold. So it's pretty cool because you can't grind for gold.
Well, it looks like, yeah, it covers items. Well, the hunting certificates too. Like I said, even if you don't get pelts, you'll get that certificate that you turn in for gold. So it's either, so we'll see how they kind of balance that out. If you get pelts or hunting certificates or both, or yeah. All right.
But either one sold to somebody else to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
not just like getting gold every time you kill something.
Well, if World of Warcraft, you don't get, kill these wolves, bring back, 5 eyeballs, 50 wolves later, they were all blind wolves.
Clearly.
I only got 5 eyes out of 50 wolves. Yeah, I don't know.
Or I lost my spoon to get the eyes out.
Exactly. So loot tables of world bosses or dungeon bosses have a small RNG chance of dropping gear, completed items. There is much higher chance that materials and unique recipes are dropped that can be used to craft items of equitable value. So that just tells me right there that this game, going into dungeons and raids and just going after higher tier marks, yes, you might get lucky and a whole chest piece will drop. But it sounds like, yet again, this brings back the professions that we were talking about. That keeps them relevant, because it's like, oh, well, this boss doesn't drop a chest piece, but it drops the item to make the chest piece. So you have to go talk with somebody. I know. You have to go work with another person.
Who's that?
Who is that? It's gonna be Missy. If you want a pretty dress or jewelry, go to Missy, and perfume.
Yeah.
Yep. So, let's see here. There's a small RNG chance of looting rare and legendary items or crafting materials from mobs based on the level, status, and type of mob. This also applies to harvesting resources with a gathering profession. Legendary equipment is only dropped by legendary world bosses. And I take it the legendary world bosses are going to be stuff that probably only happens once there's a metropolis and we've pissed something off. We've this is the world management system coming into play. The world management system will be like, oh, they've hit all these marks. Metropolis, they've expanded, like all these other nodes are big. Now it's time to release release the wolves, but it'll be like a gigantic wolf. So we will see, and it'll probably take a whole army to take it down, so that'll be pretty cool. So stats on dropped items will vary based on the rarity of the item. Loot tables are disabled for player-controlled monsters. Experience debt decreases the drop rate percentage for monsters. So population-based scaling. The prices that NPCs sell items will scale based on the economic activity on a server. Prices will rise to combat inflation and fall as a population diminishes. So in that sense, it will be different than BDO. BDO is very, the prices, at least to my eyes, never change. They are always consistent. There's like 20, like they give you a range, but it's never more or less than that, right? So, but I've
gouge people for something.
Yeah, and I think for this, to be honest, it's still gonna be, there's gonna be a fixed high and a fixed low, and it'll just, as it needs. So I think it's still, you're not gonna be able to go like, well, I'm gonna sell this for 50,000, but it's only worth 20. You'll be capped at 20, or you could sell it as low as 15. So, and then that could adjust to be 20 to 25. You never know. So.
Well, it stops people, too, from using the warehouses and overloading them and using them as storage.
Yeah. So, let's see. So the node system allows the developers to scale the experience needed to level a node and the attrition that delevels a node based on activity. I guess to finish up on my part, things that NPCs buy and sell kind of scale based on the economic activity that exists on that server. As inflation rises, prices rise, and everything kind of ends up being equal, even though there might be a couple extra zeros. So that can go up, and it can also go down. So as the population leaves, things become less expensive, and players don't have to do as much to earn that. On the other side of things, we look at the node system, and the node system is set up in and is really flexible way that allows us to scale the experience needed to level up a node and the attrition that delevels a node to scale based on activity 2. So it's just going to be a matter of adjusting a couple of constants that goes up and down, and the server can watch it and then change those on the fly as it needs to. Like I said, the world manager system is going to be the baby. That thing needs to work.
Yep.
So.
Or nothing works.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
Exactly. All right, Missy, trade agreements.
All right, so node governments can enter into trade agreements with other nodes. Each node entering into the agreement can designate caravans with materials to be sent to the other, improving the economy of both nodes. This gives experience to all involved, contributes to the node's growth, and helps to construct buildings. Mercenary guilds will be a viable way forward for different organizations. I think there will be a lot of business to be had with that. And one of the systems in our trade agreements is creating an escrow for those particular type of arrangements that we're looking into. So trade routes. Trade routes in Ashes of Creation refer to economic relationships between nodes established by mayors through the caravan system, an aspect of naval content. So share market. As nodes develop, player governments may open a stock exchange, also called stock markets and share markets, where players can buy and sell shares in nodes, guilds, and social organizations. The value of stocks is influenced by world events and the performance of nodes, social organizations, or guilds. Hard metrics, such as quest lines, nearby resources, citizen progression, and purchases of local real estate will determine the value of purchasable shares. Sieges will halt trading of shares in a node. This opens up potential for economic sabotage. Oh boy. There is no regulatory commission to restrict the purchase and sale of stock. It's kind of like real life. So that's kind of cool. I could be a stockbroker.
Right.
So real estate. Players buy the deeds for housing from the node itself. Players can also buy and sell properties from other players. Housing will have a base price that scales with the number of citizens in the node. In-node housing will be at a premium and is expected to be hotly contested. The more apartments that have been purchased in a node, the higher the price scales. The developers are considering an auction-based method for listing new properties that become available for purchase when a node advances. A grace period will occur before the housing becomes available for auction. Bids will then be accepted starting at a minimum reserve value that is based on the number of citizens in that node. At the end of the auction, the highest bidder will win the house. Static housing and apartments can be listed and sold to other players. There is no cap on the price of player-originated housing sales. Player housing that is destroyed during a node siege can no longer be sold. Freeholds may not be sold to other players. This is subject to change based on testing. There's no cap essentially in player-originated sales. Those are determined essentially by supply and demand as it is within the game, and there's no artificial barrier to how high that demand can go. So housing ownership can default back to the node if the owner fails to pay their property taxes. A balance of penalties will be charged to the new purchaser of the home in the manner of a foreclosure process. Man, we are like doing this like real life.
Right?
You take over the debt, you got to pay off their debt.
That's crazy. Yep.
Players will not be able to exceed their allotment of housing in the game. This will allow players to transfer real property goods. This includes static housing. This includes apartments that they may own, and they can sell those because those will have a limited and finite quantity. rental and leasing concepts are currently under consideration. Some concepts that we have is going to be rental or leases that could be had, allowing players to kind of lease a property for a period of time where they will have control rights over utilizing storage based on the area, controlling the furniture or access point, all that kind of stuff.
Menphilia called you.
Yes, I know.
She always wants to get your attention, when you're busy.
I know, always on Fridays.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, definitely, as you guys can tell, I mean, this game's going to be pretty serious when it comes to the economy, and how it's actually run, and there's going to be a lot to it. I remember back in the day, and it still is that same way, that they classified World of Warcraft's auction house as a genuine, real, actual market. I don't know if it's that way anymore, but if this game comes out, and everything's working like it's supposed to, it's going to be pretty crazy. So, but like I said, as an MMO, it doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. Like, that's what MMOs, like, they change over time, right? Patches and all that fun stuff. So, but I'm pretty sure we'll get there. So, was there any takeaways for you, Missy, after going through the economy?
No.
No.
Looks pretty straightforward. I think I kind of made my comments where I did.
Definitely.
It's really interesting. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
That they have to work on. And it worries me too that this is just a lot. Even just the housing, it's a lot. With foreclosure processes and real life kind of situations. Like, it's a lot of things to implement into this game.
Yeah, like housing and all that stuff, like for a lot of games is secondary, right? It's like the game, the quests, the leveling, the gear, the professions, that's like up first, and then of course like the basic economy of like auction houses and stuff, they're just very intricate about this game. A lot of different systems. That world manager has to work. Like, if it works, that's what's gonna, like, that is the nervous system. Without no manager, this game don't move. Just like if your nervous system was gone, you don't move. So, but yeah, so we will definitely keep an eye out on the economy and how it shapes up, and real estate and housing and all this fun stuff. So, so yeah, if you guys like the video, and you like the series, please press that subscribe button, the little bell button, so you get notified whenever we come out with a new video. Don't just do Ashes of Creation, but we do, we're going to be doing paranormal activity stuff at some point. Missy moments, which are fun little snippets from Missy. I think there's one up right now. And then also Pokemon card openings, Magic the Gathering card openings. There's going to be a lot of stuff, like I said. I'm even looking at probably doing some vlogs when I go see Disney World and Universal Studios. So we'll see how those come out, though. that'll be later this year. Hopefully by that time we don't have to wear masks. But I don't know. Wearing a mask down in Florida. Ugh. We'll figure it out, though. So anyways, guys, also give us a follow on Twitter and Twitch. If you have channels yourselves, please go ahead and follow us, and we will get you back on that as well. Also, if you want to join our team, become a Crucible team member, we would love that. So we got 5 open spots right now. So anyways, that will do it and conclude us for the economy part for Ashes of Creation. And yeah, we will catch you guys next time. So you take it easy and stay safe out there, CGN family.